Welcome to Bloody Flicks. I'm your host, Pete.
I'm Kyle, and we talk about all things bloody.
And this video, we're going to review the movie
The Exorcist Believer, part one of this new trilogy from David Gordon Green.
Yeah, so Exorcist Believer, I made you go see this one.
Yes.
I used my free tickets. And
Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have gone, just from seeing the reviews alone.
Yeah, reviews are mixed. Some people liked it, some people didn't like it. Like, hey, Kyle, I ain't gonna go see that.
Well, I did have some interest in seeing this movie, but after hearing like majority of the reviews where people didn't like it, I just really didn't want to waste my time going to see it at the theater.
But paying for it.
Well, yeah. And then when you said you had free tickets, I'm like, oh, what the hell? I'll go. You know, if it sucks, it sucks. At least get out of the house.
Well, we're off work, so I don't have to do anything important anyway. I kind of want to see just because I went through a long period, a few months without seeing movies. Being off from work for this month and a half, my goal was to see a bunch of movies in the theater, and I didn't do none of that. For whatever reason, I got lazy as fuck and did not do any of that. Did you really?
No.
I had a plan of seeing all these movies and just never did.
I had a plan, but I just didn't do it.
I didn't stick to it. Yeah, neither did I. So, it's supposed to be Exorcist. And this was more story-driven. Very, kind of like Selects, very story-driven. Which I do like a good story. You felt the story was a little too long to get to the point? Because it tells you there's two couples, Christian family and a guy with his wife, and something happens to her, and then you got to choose between the wife and the kid. Later on, fast forward, he has him and his daughter, and then you have the other couple. So there's two different sides, and they still tell you the story of the guy and his wife mostly. And you felt it took a long time to get there.
That was my biggest problem with this movie, is they focused more on one set of characters and kind of just, this family over here, they're religious, and that's all you need to know.
They really didn't tell you a lot about that.
Yeah, then they kind of focused more on this one family, and kind of gave them more of a backstory, and their characters progressed. Like I said, the other family, nope, they're just religious. That's all you need to know, and they don't need no other backstory. Okay, I got it.
You felt like they went too long in the story part too.
Yeah,
they could have took half the time and kind of split the two families in half.
Yeah.
I wish they would have. Okay, I like the part where the guy in the earthquake and all that, and he has to choose. But they could have took that down by a couple minutes, I think.
To me, that part could have just been like a flashback. They just showed a couple minutes of a flashback of what happened, and that
take 3 minutes of that and give 3 minutes of to the other family about their lives, because they just kind of show up.
Yep.
So it's like the other family just shows up, yet the girls are equally possessed.
And they're best friends. They're best friends. Yeah.
So they kind of did. It was story drive. The story was good. I did like the story. They could have evened out the story a little more.
And another thing is, when the girls become possessed, they should have showed us a little. They barely show you how they became possessed.
Like a flashback scene,
it was like a flashback type scene. It's like you could have drew that out a little bit longer, It
wasn't a really good flashback scene. It's kind of like water and a shoe.
Yeah,
and
it was like a water, a shoe, and they just lit a candle and was holding this necklace, and that was it. I was like, they could have did a little more with that. So
it seemed the movie seemed a little rushed in spots.
Yep.
It was a good story, but I think they it's almost like they went with the story because they weren't sure, they were kind of lost in spots. They made it work, but it could have flowed better. But yeah, very story. Now, when you watch the original Exorcist movie, the original one came out in 1974, 73. It's actually the first big horror movie because Texas Chainsaw didn't come out to 74. So Exorcist, the biggest, baddest demonic, especially for being the 73, scared a lot of people. I have friends who are 10 years older than me. That movie scared the fuck out of them. That was the movie that scared the shit out of them. One of my friends hasn't watched it since. So it was that big a deal. When I was a kid, it did scare me, but I was really young when it would play in the early 80s and stuff. Late 70s, just kind of watching like this, like every movie I watched. That movie was very scary, like the possession scene, the demonic scene. So you expected that to be in this movie?
Yeah, for the most part, because this is supposed to be a sequel to the original Exorcist.
You put Exorcist up there, we expect a lot.
Yeah, and I just, to me, this was just a typical possession movie that they slapped the Exorcist name on and just kind of added little tidbits to tie it into the franchise, and it just
seems like a lot of movies are doing that nowadays. Yeah. Which I guess is better than rebranding or remaking the same movie. Cemetery bullshit. So at least they're doing something different and trying to tie it together. Like we were talking Evil Dead, with at least they're doing something new about that. Still trying to bring it in. You do have the mom, the original mom from The Exorcist in this movie. She shows up. The only reason they went to look her up is because she wrote a book about her experience with Reagan. Her and Reagan are estranged. They don't talk. They went to get her help. Now, you figure that a woman that's went through this with her kid would not want to be involved in this. No, she's willing to come back and deal with some demons.
Oh, and then the fact when they have her deal with these demons, they leave her by herself. This 90-year-old woman is going to go upstairs and talk to a demon, and without any males around helping her, and the demon fucks
some
her
parts
up.
not thought out.
And the demon fucks her up.
But yeah, the two girls, they both get possessed, demonetized, or whatever, the demons of both of them, equally.
Yeah.
So equally, both kids are equally possessed. And then the two families got to coincide to give an exorcism to these two children. So what's funny is one child's in the hospital. I would say the main chick. The main girl, not chick, but the main girl and her family. Honestly, and then the Christian family's daughter is at home.
Can you even remember their names? Because I sure the hell can't.
No. No, but the thing is, they, one was a black girl and a white girl. And you don't know if they led to that to have it more like, you wanted to give more the black side of the story. Because the white Christian, based family. What's weird is I like the dad who played the little girl's dad.
Yeah.
They did a really good job. The daughter did a good job. But he's got his kid. He's in the hospital. She's obviously, that's the main focal point is him and the daughter.
And it's a mental hospital because they think this is a mental problem.
And so he investigates, which I really like, finds Reagan's mom. The other family, as the girls are possessed, getting more and more possessed and causing havoc and doing stuff to their house and family, the Christian family has the daughter in the house. So the main dad goes to the other family, and they kind of don't like each other. Goes in the house, and the girl's sitting on the bed. Mom's praying, the dad's hiding in the bathroom or some shit. It's kind of weird. Like, why would you have a demonic child just sit in your house because the power of the Lord could save her? And they realize they need to go talk to a priest about exorcism. Actually, Reagan's mom.
Yeah.
The diocese says, no, we can't do that. Fast forward to the end, the preacher is going to help. So you got the dad who has a friend who's, it's not really it's not a Christian church. It's more like not a Scientology church, because they're using herbs and chants. And what kind of church would that be? It's an unorthodox type church.
Yeah,
because they have a lady who does burn incense and stuff and that type of thing. That's that type of church. He doesn't really believe in anything, so you got a kind of a non-believer. His buddy who's kind of this like off-brand church type thing, the Christian type church, a preacher who won't get out of his car to go in and help because he's scared shitless, and they're all trying to work together to, like, you see him bolt 2 chairs together back to back. Spoiler alert. And put the 2 girls in him, tie them up, and all that stuff. And you think all hell's gonna break loose. And they instead of having the girls be like do all this scary shit, they play out the fact that each person's got to work together. Like the dad of the Christian dad, I wish I can remember their names. The little white girl, her dad, he's hiding because he's scared. Then all of a sudden he becomes a believer, and then the other dad, and it was like, I'm like, okay, cool story, I get it, it's going along. Where's all this shit gonna happen?
Yeah, and then I look at you when they have all these different religions and that there, and I go, religion exercises tonight.
Oh yeah. I think I spit my drink out. I'm like, oh god, did he just shout at the... I'm like, okay, here we go. And then they get these 2 girls together and they do their demonic stuff. You gotta kill one of us.
Yeah,
only one survives.
When they're doing the whole exorcism, they're not like twitching or nothing. They're just kind of turning their heads and looking, and once in a while they'll jerk back, but that's about it. I'm like, I want to see like bone snap and shit like that. Like, show us like what this is doing to them.
The old school ways of doing it, like when they Linda Blair, how they hurt her back with trying to buck her around and stuff. You expected more. I expected more to be an Exorcist movie, especially bringing it back after all these years. Besides the fact that they, Reagan's mom loses her eyesight because the demon took her eyesight. Now, and that was in a kind of a close quarter. So Reagan's mom loses her eyesight due to this demon because he remembers her, and the girl scratches Reagan. One of the girls scratches Reagan on the headboard, and she's like, he remembers me. Well, if he remembers you and he's that powerful and can take your eyesight, you got 2 girls possessed in a chair. Well, they're all fighting how to do all this stuff, and they do like the 5-point star on the floor, and the one lady's got her chance going and stuff, and the herbal stuff. The other guy's praying with the Bible, and it's just kind of a mixture of everything, and it works. Then the preacher decides to show. The one dad goes out to the car. You gonna come help us out? And the preacher's like, oh, magically shows up. And then within 5 seconds, he dies.
He grew a pair.
And then he just dies. He's not supposed to touch girls. He's over him trying to do his thing with the Bible, and they suck the life out of him.
No, they twisted his head,
snapped his head all the way around, and you're going, that was it. Like, it didn't even do it. That was like, I've seen Arnold Schwarzenegger do that to people in movies like Commando and stuff, and they pretty much did that. That was the biggest thing those demonic girls did. Like, it wasn't scary. It wasn't wow. They vanquished. One girl had to go. One girl had to live. One girl, and then so they're fighting over. And the main dad, I wish I could remember his name. He's like, I'm not going to choose. And then the other side, the other parents, I'm not going to choose.
Well, the mom wasn't going to choose.
The dad keeps hiding around the corner, and
finally
I choose my daughter.
Yeah, I choose my daughter.
And then, which was kind of cool in a way. He chose the daughter, and then the 2 girls, they're dead. And then the one daughter that he chose,
just dragged to
survive.
Yeah.
Well, the demon chooses and killed his daughter and let the other girl survive. So, a lot of good, a lot of bad, a lot in between. What would you say were the highlights of Exorcist Believer? Oh, Believer, not but Beaver.
Yeah.
Believer. Believer, that's it.
Yeah.
Do you have any goods?
Honestly, not really. I mean, even like the effects themselves, like on the girls, like when they were possessed, was just kind of like
no different than the others.
Like, meh. It wasn't nothing spectacular. And even on Christopher Nelson's Instagram page, like, he showed, like, behind-the-scenes photos of, like, the demon that's supposed to be possessing them that you don't even see in the movie. They look awesome. And it's like, why wasn't this in the movie?
I think they toned it down for a more newer fan base, younger fan base.
Yeah, and like the girls, like their makeups were just so simple, and it's like it was such a like there wasn't nothing like to me there wasn't nothing that was wow about this.
I thought the acting was good. I thought I liked the dad and his relationship with the daughter. The other couple, he acted like a good, typical Christian dad, go to church, and acting was pretty good all around for the most part. Reagan's mom, of course, when she comes back, there's a surprise at the end that they'll probably leave for part 2.
If we get a part 2.
I mean, it's so hard because it's a good movie, except you put the Exorcist title on it. That makes me expect more. When the Exorcist, in the first Exorcist, like you get the girl flowing around, spitting pea soup. It's supposed to be the same demon, right? Like the devil himself.
Well, they
right?
did a little bit of that in this movie. There was like a quick spit, but
yeah, that's like reminiscent. But oh, your mother does this, your dad does this. The flailing around, which I mean, yes, and you can't really do that as much nowadays because you hurt people. But I expected a lot more. It was really like a good story, and I'm okay as long as there's a good build up for a reason. But other movies just had better stuff. We were just talking about it. The original Exorcist had way better demonic possession, as far as the Exorcist part. Exorcism of Emily Rose. How many years ago was that movie come out? Way better exorcism scene. There's a lot of movies that have better exorcism scenes. I expected that with this, especially when you put the title. When you put the Exorcist title there, and you bring back the original Exorcist people, and spoiler alert, Linda Blair is in the movie at the very end
for about 2 minutes,
which we'll probably set for part 2. I expected more. A good story. For too long, a little too long. They threw some stuff in there, and then you get to the end, and it was not climatic at all. There was no big climatic, besides the preacher turning his head, and I was like this. Okay, kind of looked like the Casper when the Saturday Night Live preacher goes in there to do exorcism. He goes, "Oh yeah, I do an exorcism. I watch a TV. I read some books." And then they turn his head backwards. You see the neck. That's what it kind of reminded me of when they turned the preacher's neck in this movie. I'm just going like this. That's it. So there was good acting. Story was good, but I think the story had some holes that kind of just smashed together. To be bad would be there's not much expectation. Not much. I mean, the climax at the end was nothing.
I mean, going in, I didn't really have any expectations because I figured it was just going to be like a typical possession movie. And it basically was that. Like I said, you could take the mom out from the original movie, out of the story, and the story would be the same. You could just insert some random guy.
I could have been in the movie, wrote a book, and I could have played the guy that wrote a book on because my kid had to, live through that, and I could have played that part, and it would have been no change to the movie. You take Exorcist off of there, and the movie would not have changed at all.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I mean, it was cool seeing the original people there and acting, but they hooked a heart rate monitor up to the girls as the girls were going through their exorcism, to make sure that their heart rate was all that and stuff like that. Which was at the end, you see the one girl die because it goes flatline. Had they put the pulse monitor on the movie, it would have been like dun dun boop 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 for the back half of the movie. Because the back half of the movie just flatlined, right?
Well, yeah.
So, Exorcist believer, what would you give the movie? It's a tough one because it is a good story, but are you counting the Exorcist name on there? You have to. It is an Exorcist movie. They're bringing it back. Trilogy. What would you rate Exorcist believer?
I feel like I have to give it a 3, but I don't want to.
Give it whatever you honestly feel.
I'd rather give it a 2. Like I said, this was just like a basic generic possession movie.
A lot of build up for nothing at the end.
Yeah, and like I said, with the people that were behind it, we know that the Halloween trilogy that them guys did, some people don't like. I kind of figured this one was kind of going to be the same way. You know, like going in, they were going to have some good stuff, some bad stuff, but this just I think I'd have to give it a 2 blood drops out of 5, just because it was kind of a letdown.
Yeah, and then it was soft. I would give it 3 blood drops out of 5, only because it was a good story. I really liked the acting. Had had a big wow ending, that would have changed our minds. Totally would change our minds, but the ending, not so much. So 3 out of 5 for me, and hopefully the next one, I'm assuming Linda Blair and her mom's going to be in it more because, well, so they bring her back.
Well, you know, then, like I said, my thing is, how can you go make a part 2 to this? Like, what are you going to have the girl that lived be possessed again? It's like,
well, they know who Reagan is, so.
Or are they going to have a time jump where the girl that lived is an adult now and Linda Blair's about 90 years old? And yeah, it's like, what can you do? But
curious
we'll
mind.
see. Yep.
All I know is bring it next time. Bring it.
Yeah.
They need to bring the demonic scares and stuff. And I don't like these type of movies. And when I don't jump in the theater, something's wrong because I jump. Ask him. There'll be a jump scare, and I'll do one of these, and he'll laugh at me. And so, yeah, they need to bring it next time. So that is 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5, and judge for yourself. And let us know in the comments what you think of Exorcist Believer or Believer or whatever they call it. Is it a believer? How do you say it?
I don't even remember. I've seen someone
Upon unbelief.
Yeah, blurber. I don't know. Some
Exorcist Believer.
Yeah,
is the correct title. So until next time,
stay bloody.